On this day, 35 years ago, December 17, 1989, the first episode of The Simpsons, Roasting on an Open Fire, premiered. And it was the episode that, well, it was far from being the first thing we saw of The Simpsons, thanks to Tracy. But it's the one that we all got into The Simpsons and became a cultural phenomenon. And this episode is a Christmas episode where Homer needs to get money after Marge loses all the money she spent to for Lisa and Bart for Christmas presents. With Bart's present not going well since he wanted a tattoo, but he was not allowed to and was gonna get one, then was laser to remove it. And then his family going touching his arm going, ow, quit it. Ow, quit it. And Lisa didn't get a pony, unfortunately. And Homer gets a job as Santa at the mall, where Bart tried to pull a prank on him without realizing Homer is Santa. And then they later go to a dog game, racing game, where they get Santa's little helper as their pet. And that's how they got Santa's little helper. And I thought this was a funny and decent Simpsons episode. But it's also an interesting experience to when you watch, if you have seen almost most seasons of The Simpsons and compare to how it started, because two noticeable things you'll notice that has been changed throughout the years. One, the voices of Homer and Mr. Burns. While in some cases Homer's voice sounds similar, his voice trying to be more. You will notice that in the Tracy Ullman cartoons, his voice is a little deeper and more calmer than the one in the later seasons, which I find to be kind of interesting. Think they try to make Homer more smarter than he would later become in later seasons. And Mr. Burns voice is drastically different. He doesn't have the same exact voice actor as he would in the later seasons. And I think the same goes with Mo. I think Mr. Burns and Mo were voiced by the same actors in like the very early years of The Simpsons. So I found it to be interesting. Though Mo sounds a little bit similar, though he does have black hair and Barney has yellow hair. So that was the two other comparisons. I thought the animation, for the most part, is good, though sometimes, especially on the mouth movements, it looks a little off. But it does get better in later years, of course. I mean, it's 1989, so animation wasn't. I mean, I mean, animation outside of Disney and Warner Bros. wasn't 100% perfect, but that's okay since it's the first episode. It gets better and better than more in later seasons. But still, the voice acting is pretty good. Still, Julie Kavner, Nancy Cartwright, and Yeardley Smith still had the same personality and voice that they would have for Marge, Bart, and Lisa. I thought they did a good job, and Dan Castellaneta as Grandpa. And the voice actor and Julie Kavner as Selma and Patty as well. And I thought they had some funny humor, like, of course, when "Ow, quit," or when Bart was singing trying to mess up the Christmas song at the end, to the point where Homer was threatening him to stop, and then later, the more Bart continued, Homer starts choking him, as we hear him going. I thought he was funny in this episode, Bart Simpson, and the origin, and when we see how they got Santa Little Supper, I thought it was interesting, where he was a dog racer, but when he got an eighth place, his owner abandoned him, and then later Homer decides to keep him as their pet and forever throughout the show. So overall, I think this episode is a good start to the iconic TV show. I haven't finished everything as of right now, but I hope so very soon. Um, but that's it for my review of The Simpsons Roasting on an Open Fire. Merry Christmas, Matt Groening, Al Jean, Dan Castanel, Nancy Cartwright, Julie Kavner, Yearly Smith, and Hank Azaria. And stay tuned for tomorrow, where things are gonna be smoking!